You know, I've often said that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And today we're going to dive deep into a concept that can change your life forever. Learning to depend on yourself. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment that you're standing at the edge of a vast, unexplored wilderness. The path ahead is unclear, filled with challenges and uncertainties. But here's the kick. You're the only one who can navigate this journey. That wilderness, that's your life. In this world of constant change and unpredictability, there's only one constant you can truly rely on, and that's you. Not your circumstances, not other people, not even the government or your employer. Just you. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a young man who was always waiting for his big break. He'd say, "Jim, when I get that promotion, then I'll be set. Or, once I find the right partner, everything will fall into place." He was always looking outside himself for the answers, for that magical solution that would solve all his problems. But here's the truth. That magical solution doesn't exist outside of you. It's within you, waiting to be discovered and nurtured. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should isolate yourself or reject help when it's offered. Far from it. What I am saying is that true strength, true success, true fulfillment, they all start with self-reliance. Think about it. When you learn to depend on yourself, you're no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You become the captain of your own ship, the master of your own destiny. And let me tell you, there is no feeling quite like it. But how do we get there? How do we cultivate this self-reliance? Well, it starts with understanding that everything you need is already within you. You have the power to shape your life, to overcome obstacles, to achieve your dream. You just need to tap into it. First, we need to talk about responsibility. Now, I know it's not a very popular word these days. Many people run from responsibility like it's a plague. But here's the secret. Responsibility is power. When you take full responsibility for your life, your successes and your failures. I remember a time when I was struggling in my own business. Things weren't going well, and it was tempting to blame the economy, the market, my competitors, anyone but myself. But then I realized something profound. If I was responsible for my failures, that meant I was also responsible for my success. And that realization was liberating. You see, when you blame others, you give away your power. You become a victim of circumstance. But when you take responsibility, you become the architect of your own life. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I do about this? Now, this doesn't mean you won't face challenges. Life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. But when you depend on yourself, you develop the resilience to weather any storm. I want you to think about the last time you faced a major setback. How did you respond? Did you look for someone to blame? Did you wait for someone else to fix the problem? Or did you roll up your sleeves and get to work? The truth is, life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. And that strength comes from facing challenges head on, from pushing through when things get tough. Let me share another principle with you. The importance of continuous learning and self-improvement. In my years of speaking and teaching, I've noticed a common trait among successful people. They're always learning, always growing. You see, when you depend on yourself, you understand that your greatest asset is your mind, your ability to learn, to adapt, to innovate. That's what sets you apart. It's not about what you know right now. It's about your capacity to learn and grow. I often tell people, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Why? Because if you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Now, I'm not just talking about formal education here. Sure, that's important, but I'm talking about a commitment to lifelong learning. Read books, attend seminars, seek out mentors, practice new skills. The world is changing faster than ever, and the only way to keep up is to keep learning. I remember when I first started out, I was working as a stock clerk. I was making minimum wage, barely scraping by, But I made a decision that changed everything. I decided to invest in myself. I started reading books on business, on personal development, on philosophy. I attended every seminar I could afford. And you know what? That investment paid off. It wasn't overnight, mind you. But gradually, I started to see changes. I started to think differently, to approach problems in new ways. And as I grew, my circumstances began to change. That's the power of self-reliance combined with continuous learning. When you depend on yourself and commit to growth, you become unstoppable. Now, let's talk about goal setting. If you're going to depend on yourself, you need to know where you're going. You need to have a clear vision of what you want to achieve. I've always said that the major reason for setting a goal is for what it makes of you to accomplish it. What it makes of you will always be the far greater value than what you get. That's where the real power lies. You see, when you set a goal, you're not just defining a destination. You're creating a roadmap for your own growth and development. You're saying to yourself, this is who I want to become. But here's the catch. You can't just set any old goal. Your goals need to be your own. Not your parents' goals, not your friends' goals, not society's goals. Your goals. I've met so many people who are living someone else's dream. They're pursuing a career they don't love because it's what their parents wanted. They're chasing a lifestyle that doesn't fulfill them because it's what society says they should want. But that's not self-reliance. That's self-denial. When you depend on yourself, you have the courage to define your own success. You have the strength to pursue what truly matters to you, even if it's different from what others expect. So I want you to take some time to really think about what you want. What are your dreams? What kind of person do you want to become? What mark do you want to leave on the world? Write these goals down. Make them specific. Make them measurable. And most importantly, make them yours. Now, once you have your goals, it's time to take action. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where self-reliance really comes into play. You see, it's easy to depend on yourself when things are going well. But what about when you face obstacles? What about when you fail? This is where many people give up. They hit a roadblock and think, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. They look for excuses, for ways to justify their failure. But when you truly depend on yourself, you understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. It's a stepping stone, a learning opportunity. I want you to start seeing failures as feedback. Every time something doesn't work out the way you planned, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow stronger, to become better? This mindset shift is crucial. But when you depend on yourself, you're not waiting for someone to rescue you. You're not hoping for a lucky break. You're taking action, learning from your mistakes, and constantly moving forward. Now let's talk about discipline. If self-reliance is the engine of success, discipline is the fuel that keeps it running. Discipline is doing what you know you should do, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early to work on your goals when you'd rather sleep in. It's saving money for your future when you're tempted to spend it on immediate gratification. It's choosing the salad instead of the burger when you're trying to improve your health. You see, motivation is great. It gets you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going. And when you depend on yourself, you can't afford to rely on fleeting motivation. You need the steady, reliable power of discipline. I often tell people, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. That's what discipline is all about. It's about becoming better, developing more skills, gaining more wisdom. It's about doing the hard things that make life easy, rather than doing the easy things that make life hard. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, Jim. This all sounds great, but it's not easy. And you're absolutely right. It's not easy. But let me ask you this. What's the alternative? The alternative is to depend on others for your happiness, your success, your fulfillment. The alternative is to be at the mercy of circumstances, to be a leaf blown about by the winds of change. Is that really how you want to live your life? When you learn to depend on yourself, you take control. You become the author of your own story, the creator of your own destiny. And yes, it's challenging. Yes, it requires effort, but the rewards are beyond measure. Think about the sense of accomplishment you'll feel when you achieve a goal through your own efforts. Think about the confidence you'll gain as you overcome obstacles and solve problems. Think about the freedom you'll experience when you're no longer dependent on others for your happiness. That's the power of self-reliance. That's the gift you give yourself when you learn to depend on yourself. Now I want to address something important here. Some people misunderstand self-reliance. They think it means you should never ask for help, never collaborate with others. But that's not what it's about at all. Self-reliance doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean rejecting all support or assistance. What it means is that you take ultimate responsibility for your life. You recognize that while others can help you, support you, teach you, the final responsibility for your life rests with you. In fact, one of the most powerful aspects of self-reliance is knowing when and how to seek help. It's about having the wisdom to recognize what you don't know and the courage to ask for guidance. But even when you're learning from others, you're doing it because you've chosen to, because you recognize it as a path to your own growth and development. Remember, the goal isn't to become an island. The goal is to become a strong, capable individual who can contribute value to others and to the world. Now let's talk about mindset. Your mindset, the way you think about yourself and the world around you, is crucial to developing self-reliance. I want you to start seeing yourself as the hero of your own story. Not the victim, not the sidekick, but the hero. The protagonist who faces challenges, overcomes obstacles, and ultimately triumphs. This doesn't mean you won't face difficulties. Every hero's journey is filled with trials and tribulations. But when you see yourself as the hero, you approach these challenges differently. You see them as opportunities for growth, as chances to prove your strength and resilience. And here's a powerful truth. The way you see yourself is often the way others will see you too. When you carry yourself with confidence, when you approach life with a can-do attitude, people will respond to that. They'll be drawn to your energy, your positivity, your strength. But remember, this confidence isn't about bravado or arrogance. It's about quiet self-assurance. It's about knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you have the resources within yourself to handle it. Now, I want to touch on something that's often overlooked when we talk about self-reliance, the importance of self-care. You see, when you depend on yourself, you need to take care of yourself. Your mind, your body, your spirit. These are your most valuable assets. You need to nurture them, protect them, invest in them. This means taking care of your physical health through proper nutrition, regular exercise, and adequate rest. It means nurturing your mental health through practices like meditation, journaling, or therapy. It means feeding your spirit through whatever practices resonate with you. Whether that's prayer, time in nature, or acts of service. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're going to be strong for yourself and for others, you need to make sure you're replenishing your own resources. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to make a conscious effort to depend on yourself more. Start small if you need to, but start. If you encounter a problem, resist the urge to immediately ask someone else for the solution. Instead, take some time to think it through yourself. Use your own resources, your own creativity to come up with a solution. If you're feeling down or discouraged, don't immediately reach for external distractions or validation. Instead, look within. What can you do to lift your own spirits? What positive actions can you take to improve your situation? If you have a goal you want to achieve, don't wait for the perfect circumstances or for someone else to push you. Take that first step yourself. Make a plan and start taking action. Remember, the key is consistency. Small, consistent actions over time lead to massive results. It's not about making huge, dramatic changes overnight. It's about gradually building your self-reliance muscle day by day, decision by decision. And as you do this, I want you to pay attention to how you feel. Notice the sense of empowerment that comes from solving your own problems. Notice the confidence that grows as you take action towards your goals. Notice the peace that comes from knowing that you can rely on yourself. You see, learning to depend on yourself isn't just about achieving external success. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about living life on your own terms, guided by your own values and priorities. It's about waking up each day, knowing that you have the power to shape your life, to overcome challenges, to create the future you desire. It's about going to bed each night with the satisfaction of knowing that you've given your best effort, that you've taken responsibility for your life. And let me tell you, there's no greater freedom than that. There's no greater success than becoming the person you were meant to be. So my friends, as you leave here today, I want you to remember this. You are capable of more than you know. You have strengths and resources within you that you haven't even tapped into yet. You have the power to create the life you desire. Don't wait for someone else to save you. Don't wait for circumstances to change. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now, and the person you've been waiting for is you. Learn to depend on yourself, trust in your abilities, believe in your potential, and watch as your world transforms. Remember, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Cultivate self-reliance, nurture your strengths, face your fears, pursue your dreams. The journey won't always be easy. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges. But with each obstacle you overcome, with each fear you face, you'll grow stronger. You'll become more resilient, more capable, more confident. And one day, you'll look back on your life and realize that the person you've become, that strong, capable, self-reliant individual, that's your greatest achievement. That's your true success. So my friends, I challenge you, start today, start now. Take that first step towards greater self-reliance. Embrace the journey of personal growth and development. Commit to becoming the hero of your own story. That future you, the one who's mastered the art of self-reliance, is already within you. They're waiting for you to unlock their potential, to bring them to life through your actions and decisions. Every step you take towards self-reliance is a step towards becoming that person. Now, I want you to think about the challenges you're facing right now, the obstacles that seem insurmountable, the goals that feel out of reach. I want you to look at them through the eyes of that future self. How would they approach these challenges? What wisdom would they bring to the table? You see, when you learn to depend on yourself, you start to see challenges differently. They're no longer threats to be avoided, but opportunities to be seized. Each challenge becomes a chance to prove to yourself what you're capable of, to stretch your limits, to grow stronger. Think about a time when you overcame something you thought was impossible. Remember how it felt? That surge of confidence, that sense of accomplishment, that's what awaits you on the other side of every challenge when you learn to rely on your own strength and wisdom. But here's the key. You don't have to wait until you've arrived to start feeling that way. You can access that strength, that confidence, that sense of capability right now. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need within you. You just need to learn how to tap into it. That's what self-reliance is all about. It's about recognizing that you are your own greatest asset. It's about understanding that the answers you're seeking, the strength you need, the wisdom you crave, it's all already within you. Now, I'm not saying it's always easy to access. Sometimes it might feel like you're fumbling in the dark, searching for a light switch that seems just out of reach. But let me tell you, the more you practice looking within for answers, the easier it becomes. Start small. The next time you face a problem, before you reach for your phone to Google the answer or call a friend for advice, take a moment. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what do I already know about this? What resources do I have at my disposal? What strengths can I bring to bear on this situation? You might be surprised at what you come up with. You see, we often underestimate our own capabilities. We've been conditioned to look outside ourselves for solutions, to defer to experts, to doubt our own judgment. But when you start to depend on yourself, you begin to uncover resources you never knew you had. Think of it like mining for gold. At first, you might only find a few small nuggets, but as you dig deeper, as you refine your techniques, you start to uncover rich veins of precious metal. That's what happens when you start to depend on yourself. You uncover riches within you that you never knew existed. Now let's talk about fear. Fear is often the biggest obstacle to self-reliance. Fear of failure, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of not being good enough. These fears can paralyze us, keeping us stuck in patterns of dependency and self-doubt. But here's the truth about fear. It's not your enemy. Fear is a natural part of growth. It's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. The key is to learn to dance with your fear, rather than being paralyzed by it. Acknowledge it, thank it for trying to protect you, and then move forward anyway. Because on the other side of fear is where the magic happens. It's where you discover what you're truly capable of. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and taking action anyway. And every time you do that, you grow stronger. You become more self-reliant. Now let's talk about decision making. When you depend on yourself, you become the primary decision maker in your life. No more waiting for others to tell you what to do. No more looking for someone else to make the hard choices for you. This can feel daunting at first. We're often afraid of making the wrong decision. But here's the thing. There are very few decisions in life that are truly irreversible. Most of the time, if you make a decision that doesn't work out, you can course correct. You can learn from it and make a better decision next time. The real danger isn't in making the wrong decision. It's in making no decision at all. It's in letting life happen to you, rather than actively shaping your own path. Start challenging. Start making more decisions. Start small if you need to. Decide what you're going to have for breakfast. Decide how you're going to spend your evening. As you practice making these smaller decisions, you'll build the confidence to tackle bigger ones. And here's a powerful secret. The more decisions you make, the better you get at making them. It's like a muscle that gets stronger with use. You develop better judgments, sharper instincts, clearer vision. Now, let's talk about responsibility. When you depend on yourself, you take full responsibility for your life. This means no more blaming others for your circumstances. No more playing the victim. No more waiting for someone else to fix your problem. I know this can sound harsh. We live in a world that often encourages us to look for external reasons for our struggles. And it's true that there are many things in life that are outside our control. But here's the key. While we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for every bad thing that happens. It means recognizing that regardless of the circumstances, you have the power to choose your response. You have the power to take action to improve your situation. This shift in mindset is incredibly empowering because when you take responsibility, you take control. You move from being a passive recipient of life's circumstances to being an active creator of your own reality. Now, let's talk about self-trust. This is a crucial component of self-reliance that often gets overlooked. To truly depend on yourself, you need to trust yourself. You need to believe in your own judgment, your own capabilities, your own inner wisdom. This can be challenging, especially if you've had experiences in the past where trusting yourself led to disappointment. But here's the thing. Like any relationship, your relationship with yourself grows stronger with time and positive experiences. Start by making small commitments to yourself and keeping them. If you say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. to exercise, do it. If you promise yourself you'll finish a project by a certain date, make it happen. As you consistently honor these commitments to yourself, you build self-trust. Also, learn to listen to your intuition. We all have an inner voice, a gut feeling that often knows what's best for us. But in our noisy, fast-paced world, it's easy to drown out that voice. Make time for quiet reflection. Learn to tune in to your inner wisdom. The more you listen to and act on that inner guidance, the more you'll trust yourself. Now, let's talk about resilience. When you depend on yourself, you need to be able to bounce back from setbacks. Because, let's face it, life isn't always smooth sailing. You'll face obstacles. You'll experience failures. You'll have days when everything seems to be going wrong. Resilience is what allows you to get back up when you've been knocked down. It's what helps you keep going when things get tough. And the beautiful thing is, resilience is a skill that can be developed. One way to build resilience is to reframe how you think about challenges. Instead of seeing them as insurmountable obstacles, view them as opportunities for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Another key to resilience is maintaining perspective. When you're in the middle of a difficult situation, it's easy to catastrophize, to think that everything is falling apart. But most of the time, things aren't as bad as they seem in the moment. Try to step back and look at the bigger picture. This too shall pass, and you will get through it. Now, let's talk about continuous learning. When you depend on yourself, you need to be committed to ongoing growth and development. The world is constantly changing, and to keep up, you need to be constantly learning. This doesn't necessarily mean formal education, although that can certainly be valuable. It means being curious, being open to new ideas, being willing to challenge your own assumptions and beliefs. Read books, listen to podcasts, attend seminars, seek out mentors, engage in discussions with people who think differently than you do. The more you learn, the more resources you have to draw upon when you face challenges. And remember, learning isn't just about acquiring information. It's about applying what you learn to your life. Knowledge without action is like having a library full of books, but never reading them. So as you learn, always be asking yourself, how can I use this? How can I apply this to my life? Now, I want to talk about something that might seem counterintuitive when we're discussing self-reliance. The importance of connection. You see, depending on yourself doesn't mean isolating yourself. In fact, building strong, healthy relationships is a crucial part of self-reliance. Why? Because when you have a strong support network, you have more resources to draw upon. You have people who can offer different perspectives, who can provide emotional support, who can celebrate your successes and help you learn from your failures. The key is to approach these relationships from a place of strength and mutual benefit rather than dependency. You're not looking for someone to solve your problems or make your decisions for you. You're looking for people who can support you as you solve your own problems and make your own decisions. So cultivate relationships with people who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, who believe in you even when you doubt yourself. These connections can be a powerful source of strength as you journey towards greater self-reliance. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Learning to depend on yourself is a lifelong journey. It's not about reaching some final destination where you never need anyone else or never face any challenges. It's about continual growing, continually learning, continually becoming more of who you're meant to be. There will be days when it feels easy, when everything seems to fall into place. And there will be days when it feels impossibly hard, when you doubt yourself and wonder if you're on the right path. Both of these experiences are part of the journey. The key is to keep moving forward, to keep believing in yourself, to keep choosing growth over comfort, action over inaction, responsibility over blame. Remember, every step you take towards self-reliance is a step towards becoming the person you're meant to be. It's a step towards living a life of purpose, of fulfillment, of true success. So I challenge you, start today, start now. Take that first step towards greater self-reliance. Embrace the journey of personal growth and development. Commit to becoming the hero of your own story. The world is waiting for you. Not the you that you are right now, but the you that you can become. The you that emerges when you learn to truly depend on yourself. So go forth with courage. Go forth with determination. Go forth with the knowledge that within you lies the power to create the life you desire. Your future is in your hands. Shape it wisely, shape it boldly, and above all, shape it yourself.